So now we have all these individuals that are prophesying before them, these prophets. That's not the prophets of the Most High Yah. 400 was the number, and only one person was mentioned, Micaiah, as a prophet that he hated to hear the word about. And this prophet Micaiah, we're going to learn something later about who he is. This should tell us something about most of us as teachers out here today. Most of us leaders out here today who we look up to for multiple different reasons. Leaders are important. Teachers are important. Some people don't believe it's prophets today, but prophets are important. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying that you have to be careful who you call those things, because it's a great chance that they're not that. All right. And all the prophets prophesied so and said, go up to Ramoth Gilead and triumph. Yahweh will give it into the hand of the king. So this is going to happen to you. Here we go. Micaiah. And the messenger who went to summon Micaiah said to him, behold, the words of the prophets with one accord are favorable to the king. Let your word be like the word of one of them and speak favorably. So now they're telling, this tells you right here. Now look, today we might have people that may not say this and instruct someone that's coming in as a teacher or whatever it might be and say, well, you got to teach this. But we do actually see that. Stay away from these teachers. And a lot of us may do it out of respect for their congregation. But my question is, should we be doing that? That's another topic. But we see that they're telling him and trying to coach him and say, hey, speak favorably for this king. So that lets you know that these messengers, because these are people that work for King Ahab, right, under his headship, they did the same thing with those other 400 prophets. They did the same exact thing for those other 400 prophets. Y'all got to catch wind of this, man. But watch what he does. But Micaiah said, as Yah lives, what Yah says to me, that I will speak. I'm harping on this so much, y'all, because many of us that are in the office, a position of office leadership or whatever, we will bend to things like this. But this person, this individual, Micaiah, this priest, because that's what he is, of Lewi and a prophet, understood Devarim. He had to. Devarim chapter 1. He had to understand that you are supposed to, your judgment and your word needs to stand no matter what before someone that's greater than you or someone that's beneath you per se. So he says, as Yah lives, which we know the Most High is eternal, what he says to me, I'm going to speak. I don't care who that person is. But sometimes you got to provoke thought, right? And we want to see what Micaiah is about to do. And when he said to the king said to him, and when he had come to the king, Slakli, or Silkuli, the king said to him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we refrain? And he answered him, go up in triumph. Yah will give it into the hand of the king, right? So wait a minute. It seems as though he's listening to this individual. But him being a prophet and being a wise prophet, some may disagree with what I'm about to say right now. You don't really want the word of the Most High. You don't want to really hear the truth. But see, sometimes it's wisdom even within those that are wicked. And watch what he says. But the king said to him, how many times shall I make you swear that you speak to me nothing but the truth in the name of Yah? So he was being, what's the word I'm looking for? I just lost it. He was being sarcastic. That's the word I was looking for. He's being sarcastic. They have a history. He said, how many times shall I make you swear that you speak to me? Remember, he said, it's a person that I know, a prophet, Micaiah, and I hate him. He always saying something that's not true. So Micaiah has a history with him. He knows that he's being called, and then he was told or coached to say, please say something nice about him. Maybe be favorable. So he go come to him and be sarcastic. Okay, cool, you got it. You're gonna win. But this king right here, he don't really want it to be the case because he got Jehoshaphat right there too. Don't forget Jehoshaphat is there. So he wants to prove to Jehoshaphat, look, this man always saying something evil. Watch this. He said, how many times shall I make you swear that you speak to me nothing but the truth in the name of Yah? And he said, I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains. As sheep, they have no shepherd. And Yah said, they have no master. Let each return to his home in peace. What is his home? This person that's over you, this ain't your master. Normally, masters want things to function properly for their structure, right? This ain't no, he destroying y'all. Go back to your home. Where your home is, that's what peace is. But they have no shepherd that's going to lead them properly. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil? Sometimes we look at a message that's given to us that it is evil because it goes against what we think should be the case. Or it goes against what we really want to happen. We want to only move how we move. We don't want to hear no one else, even if it's literally a prophet of the Most High. Now, granted, this is a king. So I'm not talking to those teachers that may be listening to me, right? Or those that's not teachers that's listening to me and saying, well, if a teacher is coming and saying this to you, then they won't listen. No. This teacher is going to a king. This prophet is going to a king. So this king doesn't want to hear what this word is that's from the Most High. All right? Let's keep going. And Micaiah said, therefore, hear the word of Yah. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne. Watch this. Pay attention to this. Some of you may be familiar with this. Let me bring this off. I didn't know this was up right here. Some of us may be familiar with this story because it's about to get deep, but some of you may not be. Watch this. And Micaiah the prophet said, therefore, hear the word. And remember, he's Lewi too. Therefore, hear the word of Yah. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing beside him on his right and on his left. All the hosts of heaven sitting on his right and on his left. I'm going to be doing a lesson on this to you all soon about the actual number of the Malachim of the Most High. Simply amazing. And it's going to bring out a topic when I do bring that out. But he said, all the hosts of heaven standing beside him on his right and on his left. And Yahweh said, who will entice Ahab? So the Most High is asking everyone, all the hosts, who's going to entice him, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead. And one said one thing, and another said another. So they talking back and forth. They giving their thoughts, they giving their opinions. I guess we don't look at it like that. A lot of us don't look at it like these are just supposed to be servants of the Most High. They just do what the Most High says. The Most High will not reason with anything or anyone. That's what we believe. But Isaiah 1 says different than that. Isaiah 1 says different than that. But watch this. Then a spirit came forward and stood before Yahweh, saying, I will entice him. Y'all remember the story of Job or Job? Y'all remember when in Job chapter 1, it said that Job was perfect and blameless and a servant of the Most High. Right? And then all this stuff happened to Job or Job. But then the three elders came, and one of the elders said that he was in a deep sleep, and a spirit came to him. And the spirit in that deep sleep said that the Most High does not trust his servants or his malachim. Wait a minute. Chapter 1, he said that someone was perfect and blameless and righteous and called him his servant. Why am I saying this? Let's keep reading. It said, then the spirit came forward and stood before Yahweh, saying, I will entice him. And the Most High said to him, by what means? They're literally having a conversation right now, y'all. They have a council up there. Council everywhere. So they're having a conversation with the Most High. The Most High is asking this spirit, this malak, because this is part of the host of heaven, this messenger, by what means? And he said, I will go out and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of what? All his prophets. All 400 of those prophets. He's going to go and be a lying spirit. Just like in the story of Job, one of those elders had a lying spirit. The scripture don't say that. I'm saying that. And I'm calling it a lying spirit. Why? Because that spirit told him in his dream that the Most High does not trust his servant nor his malachim. But we didn't read that in the first chapter of Job. So the Most High is literally allowing one of his malachim to come and be a lying spirit to the men, right, who are looked at, because it calls them prophets. So they are prophets. But this lying spirit is about to go amongst those prophets and be a lying spirit to them so they can mislead the king.